Hello and welcome to this second installment in our 4-part series on how to create your own 9-box matrix with Google's query function using Google Sheets. In this video, we will have a look at how we can generate some randomized data to populate our 9-box matrix at the end of this video series. Our first step is to open up Google Sheets. If you're not sure where to find Google Sheets, open up your browser. I'm running Google Chrome. Just type in Google Sheets. The link at the very top should be your link to Google Sheets. The next thing we have to do is to open Google Sheets. I've got a shortcut at the top, so I just click on Google Sheets. Once it loads, I click on the plus sign to open up a new blank worksheet. And there you go, a blank worksheet in Google Sheets. Now we're going to give our sheet a name, which will be 9_box matrix. You don't have to use underscores, that's just something I like to do. And now we have to decide what the structure of our document is going to look like. We need some basic employee information, so think of basic information that you'll need in HR. So for instance, employee number, which will be 1. We will need name and surname, so we can just put name over here, surname over here. We'll need race and gender. We will need the individual's occupation, their department, obviously their performance score, as with our first video. Performance. And lastly, we will need the potential score as well. Feel free to add additional information if you like, but I think for the purposes of this video, this should be more than sufficient information for us to carry on. In order to save time, I've gone ahead and added some styling to my main sheet. I've also renamed the main sheet. You can just double click and rename if you want. Then what you need to go and do is add an additional sheet called random values. You can name it whatever you want. It does not make a difference. What we're going to use this sheet for is for VLOOKUPs when we add random numbers in our main sheet. What you can do is just pause the video and retype this information into your own sheet. Alternatively, you can use your own information, but it might be a bit difficult to follow along. After you've retyped this information, I want you to go back to your main sheet. In front of your race column, I want you to insert a blank column, as well as in front of your occupation column and in front of your department column. We insert a blank column in front of each column we want to randomize. So in this instance, we want to randomize race, occupation, and department. Our random values will go in the columns before them. We will then do a VLOOKUP from this column into this sheet and pull the randomized data into the columns we want the information to be. Okay, let's have a look at an example. We're going to use race as our first practice column. If we jump over to random values, you'll see we have 4 race categories. This is in line with South African employment equity laws. This is African, Indian, colored, and white. If you only had information for 10 or 20 people, you probably wouldn't bother with this formula in the first place. You can just randomly go and select which category applies to which individual. The way we randomize data is by using randomized numbers in Google Sheets. So navigate back to your main sheet, type the equal sign and rand, R-A-N-D, navigate down to rand between, press tab, type the number 1000 and the number 6000. The reason we make this range so big is we don't want duplications in terms of employee number. And just close off the formula with a bracket at the end, press enter, and you can drag this formula down all the way to number, I think 101. There we go. So we should have random numbers for 100 employees in total. You will note as you add information to other cells, the numbers will keep on randomizing. For now, it's not a problem, so you can just leave it be. Now that we've added employee numbers, let's have a look at race as another example. If you go to random values, you'll see we only have 4 categories when it comes to race: African, Indian, colored, and white. So navigate back to your main sheet. In this open column, type in equals, rand between. Low number is 1, high number is 4, because we only have 4 categories. Once you've done that, just drag it down all the way to 101 again. There we go. And there you would see random numbers between 1 and 4. Okay, now let's do the same for occupation. If we go to random values, we'll see occupation. We have 8 occupations listed. So we will need between 1 and 8. So rand between once again, low 1, high 8. Close up the formula and just drag it down all the way to 101. And we should have 100 randomized values for occupation. There we go. I've gone ahead and did the same for all of the other columns. So for occupation, we have 8, between 1 and 8. For department, we have between 1 and 8. If we go to random values, you'll see we have 8 departments in total. For performance score, if you remember video 1, we have a rating scale from 1 to 3 and a potential score from 1 to 3. So it'll be 1 low, 3 high. When it comes to generating random names and surnames, there is a website that I prefer to use. So what you can do is just open up a new tab in your browser. In your search bar, you can just type in random names. The first link you'll see is this list of randomnames.com. Click on that. We want the names of 50 male employees. You can just say generate. Once you've done that, just navigate down and here where it says list in a text area, click on that. Select all of the values all the way down. It's extremely slow, not sure why. You can just press Ctrl A if that's taking too long. Okay, once you've copied all of the information, you can just go back to your sheet. Second from the top, just paste in the names. Go to row 52, go back to this website, click on female, click on generate, go down all the way, click on list in a text area, once again Ctrl A, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, and now you have the names of 50 male employees and 50 female employees. After we've copied the information, we know that the first bunch of employees are males, so we can pretty much just type in M. Or male, you can choose, but I prefer M. Whoops, there we go. We can drag this down all the way to 51 if I'm not mistaken. Yes, 51, it should be 50 in total, there we go. And the rest of the employees should be female. So we can just drag this down, and there we go. Randomized names for 50 males and 50 females. Now we want to split out the names and surnames so that they're in 2 separate columns. So you can just quickly insert a blank column over here. Click on column D to select the whole column. Go to that data or data. Click on split into columns. Click on this that pops up at the bottom and just use space. You'll see names and surnames have been split. You can delete this column. Just type in surname. There you go, names and surnames have been split into 2 separate columns. Now to randomize our race, we're going to use a simple VLOOKUP formula. So you just type in your equal sign in the cell that you want. So it's equals VLOOK, it should actually pick it up. Just press tab. We're going to use this column, comma, random values. We're working with race, so it's 1, 2, comma, 2, 0. Okay, if you're not familiar with VLOOKUPs, I strongly recommend either checking out some of our other tutorials or just doing a quick YouTube or Google search to see how it works. Now that we have the first VLOOKUP working, we can just double click on this little square at the end and you should see that the VLOOKUP has pulled through the information in accordance with the randomized number in the random values sheet. Let's do one more example. So if we go up to the top, we're going to use occupation. Once again, equal sign, VLOOKUP. We're going to use this random value. Oops, go to random values, occupation. So it's 1, 2. So it's comma 2, comma 0 for exact match. Close the bracket and press enter. It should give us an occupation. Just double click that little square. It should populate. Double click that line to make it open and then just left align. And there you go, that's the one for occupation. I've gone ahead and completed all of the other columns that needed VLOOKUPs. So our second to last step is to press Ctrl A, select all of our data, right click, copy, paste special, and then say paste values only, because we want to get rid of the formulas in our cells. Then we need to delete all of these randomized columns. And there we go. We have our final set of data that we will be using in our last video in this video series. That brings us to the end of our second installment in this 4-part series. I honestly hope you guys learned something new today, and I hope you will tune into our next video where we will actually look at the Google Query function.